Heyo guys, today I'm doing something a bit different and actually giving it a review slash my thoughts on Project Motor Racing. A racing game, at least to my understanding, was advertised to dethrone other hardcore sim racing games like Assetto Corsa and iRacing. Spoiler alert, it failed. Anyways, I know quite a few other content creators have spoken their mind on the game, so some of what I'm going to talk about might be repeated since I wanted to go into the game blindly. Also, yes, I regret doing that completely, just so you know. So the first thing I want to go over is just how long it takes for the game to start up. I'll have it playing on screen so you guys can see it in real time, because to me, it takes far too long to even start the game. We don't get some sort of mini pop-up to say we clicked on the icon or anything of that nature, and for the first couple of times I went to go launch the game, I found myself able to get up out of my sim rig, get my cats some food, get a load of laundry into the dryer, and get a pot of coffee brewing. All with enough time to get back into my sim rig and scroll on social media. Could just be me in the end, so let me know if I'm the only one experiencing this. Now, before I get into what else I think is bad about the game, let's go over what I thought PMR did right. The first thing being just how much fun the Miata, or the MX-5 Cup Series car, was to drive. There's a reason why I chose it for the background footage after all. Very easy to control, and the grip snaps back almost instantly when you break traction. Not only that, but PMR gave us a way to see our personal best lap times under our driver profile. To me, a very welcome addition to a racing game, if you ask me. Sadly, these are the only things that I think are good about the game. So to start on one of the first things I think are bad about the game, we're going to need to take a look in the career mode. This is where we got to choose our starting budget and what car to start off with. I went with the MX-5 Miata in case that wasn't a given, and got to race with the game's AI. So talking about the race, I qualified on pole just to lose most of my positions while expecting a green light to flash, signaling it's time to go. I took it as a different way to start a race and had to play catch up. After regaining some ground and getting side by side before turn 1, the AI decided I wasn't there and I got spun out. And I thought Forza Motorsport 2023 had some rather brain dead AI. Now the devs have stated they're going to work on this, but as of right now, I really can't justify going into the career mode. Sorry, but I get mad enough in an online lobby when getting spun out because I passed someone. I don't need an AI doing the same thing. The next issue I have with the game is how other cars behave when driving them. Note, I've only driven the Miata as stated before, the GT4 Mustang, and an old school GT series Corvette. The Miata, as said before, felt very good to drive, but the Mustang and the Corvette, at least to me, felt very unpredictable and more difficult to drive than they probably should have been. I've also seen others on YouTube complain about how some of the higher class cars feel more like hover cars and not track cars, leaving me a bit more on the afraid side to even try them out in order to avoid any unnecessary frustration. Although, after getting the gameplay footage, I did watch a YouTube video saying you could fix this with the force feedback settings. That video also said these settings need changed if you choose to drive something else. I found this too unnecessary to do, to be honest, as I feel force feedback should be a one and done setup. Now the last thing I want to talk about, since I'd just be repeating the same things other content creators are saying, are the tracks themselves. Granted, the track selection is pretty small, and someone's going to have to see if PMR or ACC has more tracks to choose from. After taking some laps around Spa, Brianza, aka Monza, and Lexington, aka Mid-Ohio, I found a few things that might need to be looked at. First thing to note, some brake signs or brake markers are either in a spot where they're not really needed, or just not there altogether. In case you couldn't tell, while I was coming up to turn 11 or 12 depending on the track layout, we'll go with the layout without the chicane, the devs felt the need to put brake signs before a flat out corner. Granted, turn 12, the corner just before the carousel does require a bit of braking. Either these brake signs are pushed too far back or just placed in the wrong spot entirely. There's also China Beach where it's missing its brake markers and you have to rely on signs just before the corner. It wouldn't surprise me if people are overshooting that turn in a GT3 car because that braking zone is just too big. And Monza has similarities at Curva de Lesmo. Then there's Spa. Now, before you ask, no, I don't have an issue with the brake markers. I see an issue with track limits. It seemed like we're more restricted with how much of the track we can use, with my best example being Campus and Stavelot. A section where we can go pretty far off the asphalt in order to take a turn flat out. I then found myself needing to let off because the car just drifts too far off the track and getting a track limits violation. Also, minor nitpick here, how do you mess up Spa? It's been around for how long and how many racing games, with only the changes being what signs are displayed? I mean, come on guys, seriously. So I've been staring at my script that I wrote out for about roughly a half hour now, trying to decide what to type into the final thoughts section. And to be honest, I think I'm better off trying to run the risk of going on a random tangent with some rambling, so be forewarned. So to start, I wanted Project Motor Racing to be a good game. Let's face it, I think we all did. But if you ask me, after my, I want to say 3 hours of gameplay to try and get all that footage, I couldn't help but think it was more of a cash grab than anything. Like, we all thought Forza Motorsport was pretty bad at launch, but I'd say Project Motor Racing is even worse. I mean, let's face it, some of the cars just don't behave as well as advertised, and if you ask me, the only good car in the game was the Miata to drive. The GT4 Mustang, I was constantly spinning out. The GT Series Corvette that I was talking about earlier, words are hard sometimes, I just could not figure out how they felt, or how they should feel. Like, I'd go to trail brake, and I was spinning out, depending on where I put my foot, and it was always at a random spot. It was either just as I started letting off the brake, that's when I started spinning out, or it was at the halfway point, or it was at the normal spot where I would completely let off the brakes, or something like that. Then, of course, when we get into the tracks, the way some of them were made just tells me that these devs did not do enough research to really give us a good experience on well-known tracks. I mean, if you ask me, Spa has been featured in so many racing games. It's constantly looked forward to, at least on GT World's YouTube channel with the 24 Hours de Spa, that if you manage to get it wrong, then you're just simply not looking at it. And of course for Mid-Ohio, since I know that wasn't a very well-known track until, I want to say 2020, 2021, somewhere around that range, I literally went onto YouTube and found a video explaining the turns and all that, and even giving you an behind the dash, behind the wheel viewpoint of the track. So for the devs to not put brake markers where they should be, or just not putting brake markers at all, that just goes to tell me they weren't really that passionate about the game. And it really kind of hurts me because I wanted this game to be good, and honestly, as someone who is between beginner and amateur as far as the racing scene is going, if you handed me Project Motor Racing and said, hey, start your sim racing journey on this, I'd probably end up quitting within like 20 minutes. Hell, I'd probably go as far as to place my sim rig up for sale on Craigslist or something, and then go play, I don't know, Elden Ring, Skyrim, Dark Souls, something along those lines. So, with that being said, I really hope that the devs are listening to the community. And although, against my better judgment, I am going to hang on to the game for right now because the devs did say that they were going to release a little roadmap to kind of show all of us that, or at least show us what they plan for the game. But overall, I'm probably not going to be covering the game until I see more news on it. And again, I'm going to hang on to the game just in case it does turn out to be good in the end. I mean, Forza Motorsport, although rough launch, rough halfway point, it at least got to the point where now it's kind of worth playing. I mean, yeah, you got to deal with the toxic racers and people using the broken tunes, but at least Turn 10 were able to fix what a lot of the community were asking until Microsoft went and downsized them. But anyways, I think I rambled on for enough. Project Motor Racing, thank you for making me want to quit sim racing altogether. And with that being said, guys, just pretend I said something corny here to get you to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys next time. See y'all later.